Good morning, student. Welcome to the third unit of Emerging Trends in Computer and Information Technology, that is digital forensic. In this unit, we will discuss about what is digital forensic, history of digital forensic, which are the different methods used for the digital forensic investigation, and after that, some ethical and non-ethical issues in digital forensic. So now in this particular lecture, we will be going through what is digital forensic, a brief history of digital forensic, some open source and commercial tools used by the experts, and after that, rules, types, and threats to the digital forensic along with the goals. Okay, so let's start with the what is digital forensic. So let me just remind you that digital forensic is not only limited to data in your mobile, laptop, or desktop device. It may as well include data transmitted over public or private networks. So, definition of digital forensic, which in itself is self-explanatory. So, first being is that data recovery. So, although it does not look super cool, but it is one of the most important and crucial skill a digital forensic experts needs to master. So data recovery in simple includes investigation and recovering deleted files, files that are changed into different file extensions or hidden files for some reasons. Okay, so what is the role of digital forensic experts? To investigate the data, to recover the data, or to recover the files which are deleted, or to recover the files which are changed to some different file extensions, okay, or some hidden files which are hidden for some reasons. So although it sounds like a simple task, evaluating a suspected device or recovering a data in such a manner as do not tamper with the existing data on suspect device. It means that while recovering the file or while investigating files, your existing data might not be tampered, your existing data might not be modified. Okay, so you should take care of that, your existing data should not be changed. So it takes a lots of time and patience to do these things. Also following a series of steps and documenting those steps so that they can be reproduced at the code of law or in front of the necessary authority is a skill in itself. Okay, so the next basic task of digital forensic investigation is the identity theft. So this digital world where data is sold less than the price of ringgit, identity theft are way too common. Now we know that identity thefts are more common in market now. So it is the job of digital expert to keep a track on this theft and being a one responsible to the justice. So it takes a lots of manner and documentation to prove someone guilty of identity theft. So if you are dealing with someone who is proved in this job, then the time may go from weeks to months. So the next we have malware or ransomware investigation. So this is where the actual work starts. Private organizations have seen number of malware and ransomware that are being carried against an entire organization or an individual of that organization. Now we are very well familiar with the ransomware attack where entire organization or an individual is involved in this theft. So it is a tough job to find out and eliminate threat before bringing on entire organizations. So it is one of the most many according job. It is one of the most tough job currently in the market. So next we have network and internet investigation. So network and internet investigation includes investigating denial of service attack and distributed denial of service attack. Now what is meant by denial of service attack? Denial of service attack is an attack meant to shut down a machine or network making it inaccessible to its intended users. Okay, so denial of service attack accomplish this by flooding the target with the traffic or sending it into that triggers or cache system. And finally, we have email fraud. So email fraud, email investigations, which is extremely money rewarding field, this involving investigating business, email compromises and removing any digital footprints which are left behind by any organization. Since all the companies are moving their data from hard copies to the cloud, and it may be digital footprints left behind which can be used against them to figure out and resolve quickly. Now, what exactly be your job as a digital forensic expert? Let's take a brief history. Okay. So to get to know more about how at all started. So before going to the digital forensic history, now we know that what is digital forensic. So digital forensic is a branch of forensic science. It is basically applying a lots of knowledge of science and technology with computer science to collect, to analyze and present proofs to the criminal or civil court. So a knowledge of digital forensic will be helpful uh, to network administrator and security to practice digital forensic to protect their organizations from attacks. Also, a good knowledge of digital forensic will help to provide evidence and prosecute the youth in the court. So the history of digital forensic starts with the year 1980. So the year is 1980 and personal computer was introduced to the world which gaining so much popularity that one organization was very much interested in the boom of personal computers. So the FBI, the year 1984, the FBI set up the world's first digital forensic lab, which is led by the FBI Specialist Computer Analysis and Response Team. But digital forensic as its own field grew substantially in the year 1990 with the collaboration of several law agencies and head of division working together and even meeting up regularly to bring their expertise on the table. So one of the earliest formal conference was hosted by the FBI in the year 1993. The event was called as International Law Enforcement Conference on Computer Evidence, which how to address the need of formal standards and procedures with digital forensic and evidence acquisition. So any of this conference regulated in the formation of independent bodies governed by and standard the best practices for digital forensic. With advancement in technology, the tools for digital forensic must be regularly updated, not in fight against cybercrime, but in the ability to provide accountability and further retrieval of lost data. Now that you know the brief history of digital forensic, which starts from the 1980. Next, let's quickly look at some of the open source tools available at our disposal, which are used by the professional around the world. So the first open source tool that we have or that we will be looking at is the Digital Evidence and Forensic Toolkit, which is also called as DEFT, that is DEFT. So the best thing about the DEFT is that trans live on the host machine and let us perform mobile forensic, network forensic, password recovery, and much more without tampering with the existing data on the host machine. Now, what is the goal of data forensic expertise? That do not tamper with the existing data. So that allow us to do mobile forensic, network forensic, password recovery, and much more without tampering with the existing data on the host machine. Okay, so by using DFT, you can easily document the series of steps and recreate those steps at any point of time and produce the sum results as you are now in no way tampering with the host data. Then the next tool that we have is computer aided investigation environment. In short, which is called as CAINE, that is CAINE. Okay, so this CAINE is a pretty similar to DEPT, but the place working shine is with the feature of it's called as unblock feature. This feature means enabling this feature prevent us from writing data directly onto the host machine. Okay, so the CAINE prevent us from writing data directly onto the host machine, and this gives us much more control over whether we want to write data or not. Okay, so this offer its own benefits. Last but not the least, we will be looking into Kali Linux. Now, I think you all are know about what is Kali Linux. Okay, so I think I don't need to explain to you much more about Kali Linux. As you know that Kali Linux provides you all the possible tools out of the box that you can imagine. And best part is its open source and free to use features. Okay, so if you master Kali Linux, the limit what you can do is limitless. Next, we have some commercial tools available for digital forensic. So these commercial tools are cost a lot and need a subscription. Okay, so the first commercial tool that we have is Belkasoft. So this is an automated evidence response forensic tool that is capable of analyzing acquired images of memory in terms of virtual machine, mobile, and cloud background of data. Okay, so Belkasoft offers acquisition tool and RAM capture tool for free. Okay, but it is a very costly tool. But acquisition tool and RAM capture tools are offered by Belkasoft in free. And the next commercial tool that we have is a forensic toolkit, in short, which is called as FTK. So this FTK has been used by the professional and law enforcement agencies for a long time, and it offers some work as Belkasoft, same as Belkasoft. So also Belkasoft and FTK, that is Forensic Toolkit, have a joint hands to improve their platform and offer better UI and toolings. After that, finally, we have a Incase commercial tool. This Incase has a footprints for many years and has been used by many professionals internationally and worldwide. Okay, so this is about the open source tools and commercial tools available for the digital forensic. Now the next we have rules of digital forensic. So there are total 6 rules. Now investigator should follow a set of rules during the investigation. Okay, these rules should be followed by the investigator during investigation. So the first rule is that an examination should never be performed on the original data. Examination should never be performed on the original data. It means that, for example, if a hard disk is considered to be an evidence for a case, the examination should not be performed directly on the original hard disk. Always a copy of original evidence should be made, and this copy should be a bit by bit copy of original evidence. Okay, and also according to the rule number 4, for collecting any data from particular media or a compromised computers, care should be taken that the data should not be modified while doing the collection procedure. Okay, data should not be modified during collection procedure. Also, there should not be any modification of the data during examination. And the last, that is rule number 6, is that rule number 6 deals with the chain of custody. Rule number 6 deals with the chain of custody. Chain of custody means the original data should go into the custody or do the evidence safe, where a proper record should be made on the checkout or check-in of particular evidence. So there are 6 set of rules that need to be followed by the investigators during the examination or the investigation process. Which are those rules? Examination should not be performed on original data. Original data should be copied bit by bit, and while doing this collection process, your original data should not be modified, or there should not be modification of the original data during investigation. Okay, so these are the 6 rules that must be followed by the investigator during investigation. Now the next topic is that types of digital forensic. So there are 6 types of digital forensic. First one is computer forensic. So the computer forensic deals with the analysis of evidence found on computer, laptop, and other storage media. Second one is network forensic. Network forensic deals with the analysis, monitoring, capture, and storing of network activities or events in order to discover the security attacks such as intrusion detection, worms, virus, malware, or some abnormal network traffic and security breaches. Okay, then next we have mobile device forensic. Mobile device forensic deals with the recovery of electronic evidence from mobile phones, from SIM card, PDAs, tablets, and some gaming consoles, in-app applications like WhatsApp, Instagram, etc. The fourth type of digital forensic we have digital image forensic. So digital image forensic deals with the analysis and extraction of digitally acquired photographic images to validate their authenticity by recovering the metadata of the image file to ascertain its history. And in the same way, we have digital video or audio forensic. So digital video or audio forensic deals with the collection, analysis, and evaluation of sound and video recordings, and the science behind the digital video or audio forensic is the establishment of authenticity as to whether recording is original and whether it has been tampered with either maliciously or accidentally. And last but not the least, we have memory forensic. So the memory forensic deals with the recovery of evidences from the RAM of a running computer, and which is also called as live acquisitions. Okay, so these are the 6 types of digital forensic: computer forensic, network forensic, mobile devices, digital image forensic, digital video or audio, and last one is the memory forensic, which is also called as live acquisition forensic. Now let's discuss about traits of digital forensic. So the first thing being the growth of the virtual private network. This is because most of the virtual private network providers never keeps the log of their requests and their activities for more than 7 days, and cleverly designed malware and ransomware may go to get undetected for several weeks together. So backtracking the source of attack can really tricky and sometimes be impossible. So this is the first threat to the digital forensic, that we can't detect malware and ransomware for several weeks. Okay, so the backtracking of such attacks can be really tricky and impossible. Now the second threat is the cryptography standards. That means advancement in encryption standard. As you already know, the encryption standard and the algorithms used for the encryption have improved a lot over the recent years. So with some encryption tools like TrueCrypt and BitLocker offering multiple layers of encryption, so it makes a life more harder to crack and open a device. Okay, so that is highly encrypted because most of the softwares will pipe all the data, offer multiple wrong tries, making our life more harder. Okay, because it creates number of layers of encryption. And the final threat that we have in digital forensic area is that the browsing privately. That means digital forensic currently facing its offline and online abnormality with many tools that offers MAC and IP masking, and it is very difficult to pinpoint a device that causes the attack and find real culprit tools like Tor browser that offers you a normality on the internet on the some tools used by the culprit to access the dark web and carry out attacks. Although we can pinpoint the source of the attacks and it will take lots of time and hours. With that side, I can give you a complete overview in the further lecture. Okay, so these are the some basic threats to the digital forensic. First one is the virtual private network. Second one is the cryptography standard. And third one is the browsing privately, in which we use MAC and IP masking. And the last topic of today's lecture is that goals of digital forensic. Now the goal of computer forensic, which is a branch of digital forensic, is to do a structured investigation and find out exactly what happened on digital system and who was responsible for it. Okay, now the main goal of digital forensic expertise and digital forensic investigator is to do a structured investigation of the offense, then to find out what exactly happened with the digital system and who was responsible for it. Okay, so the computer crime is any criminal offense, activity or issue that involves computer. So digital crime or computer crime is somewhat which is done with the computers or which involves your computer, laptops and mobile devices. Okay, so the computer misuse tends to fall into two categories. First one is computer is used to commit a crime and computer itself is a target of crime. You can commit sometimes attackers commit a crime by using computers, and sometimes attackers commit a crime on your computer itself, like ransomware. So computer is the victim and computer security incident. Now next point is that computer is used to commit a crime. Now the crimes which are committed by using computers are some like computer pornography, threatening letters, email spam, or harassment, extortion, fraud, and theft of intellectual property, embezzlement, and all these crimes leave digital attacks. So these all crimes which are done by using computer or which are done on computer itself comes under the electronic crime or digital crime. So investigation into these types of crime include searching computers that are suspected of being involved in illegal activity. So this is the first goal, that is to do a structured investigation. Okay, so the investigation involves searching computers. That means what exactly happened on digital system and who was responsible for it. So searching computers that are suspected of being involved in illegal activities. Then analysis of gigabytes of data looking for specific keywords happen at certain times is used in illegal activities. For example, child examining log. Okay, so these are the goals of digital forensic. So in today's lecture, we discuss about what is digital forensic, which are the areas like data recovery, identity theft, malware or ransomware, email fraud. Then we have discussed what is the need of digital forensic, history of digital forensic, which starts from the 1980, and open source tools. There are 3 open source tools. First one is the DEPT. Second one is the CAN, that is computer aided investigation environment. Third one is the Kali Linux. And there are some commercial tools also. Belkasoft forensic toolkit, that is FTK, and InCase forensic tool. After that, we have seen 6 rules which must be followed by the investigator during its investigation. And then types of digital forensic. So there are 6 types of digital forensic, starts from the computer forensic to the memory forensic, and threats of digital forensic, and which are the goals of digital forensic. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the different methods of digital forensic, advancement, advantage and disadvantage of the digital forensic, along with the challenges in this particular area.